Hello everyone, we're at Pocket Gamer Connects London 2023. I'm Dylan from HyprChats, and I'm joined by Harry from Quali. Harry, welcome.
Thanks very much, Dylan. Lovely to be here.
Of course. Well, thanks for joining us. Maybe you could tell us a little bit more about yourself, your role, and Quali as a whole.
Sure. So I've been with Quali about 4 months now. I'm a relative newcomer, certainly newcomer to the industry. I moved across from quite a lengthy career in the mobile and digital gambling industry. Always wanted to explore esports and computer gaming and mobile games further. Had my opportunity now with Quali. So I'm effectively responsible for marketing across multiple verticals. The most famous one, as far as Quali's history goes, is hyper-casual games. We've merged, like many others have, across hybrid and into the casual space. We have the Tic-Tail studio in Paris, and we have some very exciting plans on casual. Plus, we have our PC and console vertical, which is very exciting indeed, something I've recently got involved with from overseeing all the marketing activity. And we have, I think it's 6 games we're publishing on behalf of developers this year.
Wow.
So we've got a pretty busy dance card.
Yeah, for sure. I imagine keeping you and your team pretty busy over the course of this year.
Definitely.
So you mentioned all verticals, right? Mobile, PC, console. It's such a competitive industry and market, and to be able to do all 3 verticals is a feat in itself. So what do you think Quali does that differentiates, studios and other publishers within the genres?
I think that people come first, as is often the way with these things. Successful businesses and organizations are inherently about the people that they employ, and then how those people are managed and the KPIs they're set to progress not only themselves and their own careers, but to progress the business consistently, so we're all moving in the right direction. I think the fact that the business, David Darling, our founder, he's not exactly a stranger to successful gaming businesses, having founded Codemasters back in the day. Okay. Jason Falkus, our COO, equally a litany of massive global success stories. And we've got a really impressive senior team. So under their watch, we identify where the similarities might be. We have an exceptional data science department, which crosses all verticals. But then on the individual verticals, we're quite different. We understand hyper-casual mobile is a very different beast to casual, and casual is a wildly different beast to PC and console. Right. So we exploit the similarities where they're there. We maximize the talent that we bring in, both in terms of how we hire, but also how we performance manage and motivate our team members. And then we push forward with a degree of bravery, because we're an independent business. We have that power and capacity that when we strike gold, we go out and get a massive team of JCBs, figuratively, and we go digging, which is pretty refreshing.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, that's great to hear. And I know on the mobile side of the business, you alluded to it a lot. Just now, hyper casual has sort of been the bread and butter on the mobile side, and you mentioned exploring into hybrid casual and just general casual. I guess as far as the hyper casual market goes, like, what do you think the current state is of the genre? And then forward looking too, you mentioned these other genres, like what is Quali doing to separate itself from the bunch?
Yeah, so answering the first question, before I joined Quali, I was doing my background research. Coming from the outside, I have the massive blessing of being hopelessly naive. So I did my research without any quandaries or foibles or anything misleading me. And the rumor mill was telling me, hyper-casual is on the way out, this is it. Everyone's moving to hybrid, into casual games. And I came into Quali having wiped any preconceptions. And actually, the way I read it now is, it's just a highly impressive games vertical with an awful lot of very talented competitors, many of whom have got incredibly deep pockets and huge talent pools, and they're all doing the same thing incredibly well. So that competitive pinnacle that they're all aspiring towards has got thinner. I don't see it as a shrinking market. Certainly the data doesn't back that up. I think it's burgeoning as far as we're concerned. And we had a #1 hit with Hunt and Seek just before Christmas, and that looked pretty healthy on the numbers side. So I simply think it's it's highly competitive, which normally is very good news for an industry sector. It means the customers are getting a better product, makes it harder to make your millions easily. There's no easy wins there. And I think the migration across into the likes of hybrid and into casual, with that greater investment into product required, it is a natural progression for a business like ours. And personally, I love the depth. But like I said, there's some things that are shared across between the verticals. So juggling the balance of what's right to deploy across vertical and what needs to be niche specific talent or strategy, that's the game. But it's a pretty fun one.
Got it. Yeah, and I'm sure you're managing all these titles across the board. It's no secret that ads are a big revenue driver for your studio, I imagine. So what are some certain things that you've seen work over the last, I guess, 4 months that you've been there during your tenure? And are you exploring any new sort of ad monetization outlets outside of the traditional, reward video, interstitial banners?
Yeah. So in terms of the UA ad side of things, Ryan Davis has been with Quali a long time, and he and his team are exceptionally good at this. Between both our UA, so we have Aishan on the UA side running our ad strategies, and our creative team globally and in Bangalore. Ryan's implemented a new creative strategy because of this competitive environment we're in, and effectively, the way I've always viewed marketing strategy is never about this grandiose, sweeping Sun Tzu art of war statement. We will hit them where it hurts and bravery counts and whatever else. It's doing a million things 2% better. And his new creative strategy about how we are interrogating the tiny, tiny details of our UA ad strategy and across some of these new media as well. That's where the wins happen. And I've been intrigued recently to see, I'm 45 years old. I've got a child and a puppy, and I have very little time for playing anything, let alone mobile games.
Right.
But I'm intrigued to see how the nuance of these things, of what looks quite simplistic to an external view, there's a lot of data, a lot of science, and a lot of differentiation between the ads. And sometimes, I see wins, I see our ads that are hitting our high performer slot. I'm like, that's the least favorite one we've done on that game in a while, and yet the performance is there, and
right.
Performance is what wins. So that's been interesting. And on the monetization side, we have Cecilia, who I know you work with, who's just a genius. She's brilliant, works 24/7. It seems. I don't know how she accomplishes what she does with her team. And again, elements of nuance to that. It's about getting the best revenue from the inventory we have, and for me, I'm very much learning, how that side of the business and that side of our team operates. But it is intensely clever, and the data intelligence part of it it's a never-ending game.
Yeah.
And I think she views it as such, and the strategies and tactics she deploys daily, and the challenges she faces to make sure we are always on the up. It must be very rewarding, probably quite frustrating as well, though. So I certainly applaud the monetization part of our digital marketing team.
Yeah, bunch of wins and losses. And you alluded to it, a lot of it does come from the people, right? To sort of build out the product and make it as best as it could be.
Yeah.
And related to that, so you sort of as an outsider looking in, I mean, you're getting knee deep into things now. What are some trends that you've seen over the last few months during your time at Quali that you're seeing is working for your team?
We've done quite a lot of exploring into the influencer side. Now on PC console, it's a big deal. It's a brand building side. It's very different to hypercasual. We've looked at trialing that. Some success, some duffs as well. And we're sort of unpicking where there might be potential value in there, whether it's about the organic side or whether it's about taking the organic, authentic content and utilizing it within paid campaigns. My problem with that as a whole is the moment you find success, it's replicating it, because you can't just run the same thing. It's not like a UA ad. You can take the same sketch or skit and replay it again and again. It's going to be stale. And so you could have something that you think is a winner. There isn't going to be the methodology. There's not going to be the equation you can model and go, right, that influencer type for that market with this game and this script, and then push the button and do 1,000 of them. Right. It just simply doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
So when does it stop being cost effective? So I'm intrigued to see developments in that market. I've got my ears to the ground heavily to find out what others are doing. But the volume of traffic is there. It should have an opportunity line all the way through it. But it's something that's in the growth phase and in the development phase for all of us. So intrigued on that front. And then from the sort of standard UA side, obviously, we, like everyone else, is in bed with all the SDK networks.
Right.
I think for me, that ad creative and creative quality part, because the team knows implicitly what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing in terms of optimizing trends, optimizing campaigns. Where is it that we can differentiate? Where is it can we find those points of difference? And I think it's about greater granularity. I think it's about taking the input of the data. It's about exploring things that perhaps you might not have given due care and attention to historically. Is it button color? Is it background color? Is it using real people or game assets, or is it using the hyper-developed version of the game asset? What degree of extension of what happens in the game is the perfect amount without misleading the audience who are then going to churn? And a list of 1,000 more things that we might explore in the average week. For me, that's great because it is hardcore creative. You need to have something that's going to entertain. We are, after all, an entertainment business. And it might be easy to lose sight of that when you're dealing in ones and zeros. For me, it's entertaining ad creative within a process is constantly striving to test and learn and find niche opportunity and then replicate.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, very action-packed, a lot of stuff going on.
It is. It's
I guess a good way to wrap up here, you alluded to a lot of it earlier, but what can we look forward from Quali in 2023?
The hyper-casual side is strength to strength. We had Hunt and Seek with the #1 hits. Android. I mean, for me, being my 3rd month and seeing an app game of ours above TikTok and Instagram and the Android app chart in the States, that was warming, to say the least. It felt good. So more of the same. More hits, more reliability on our ability to predict success, more media channels that we open up. May not be as big as the SDKs in the near term, but we open up our retinue. We find out how to sort of spread the load, and then that replicable success is key. And then on the other side with PC and console, obviously I'm relatively new, leading the marketing team there. Very exciting. We've got a few gaming launches coming up in H1 or the first half of H2. And they're great. The product's great. And with a marketing strategy that we've now endeavored to implement with a new template and a new way of workshopping strategic planning, everything's a bit more integrated about that approach. And I think there's going to be quite a lot of fireworks around those game launches, whether it's coming up towards next fests or coming through the summer. So add it all together. It's a busy dance card, but it's a brilliant business. We're looking to hire as well for any of your viewers out there who are considering a change. There's a number of roles in my team and beyond. We're a growing concern. It's a wonderful business to be in.
Absolutely. Well, lots to look forward to. Definitely keep in touch. And any of you interested, be sure to reach out to Harry over here. Well, Harry, it was great to have you on. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Great. Thank you.